important. And this is all comes back to the inference, right? Which is, or show me something different. I didn't like that. Or I want to see something special today. Or I'm sitting with my children, don't show me that movie, right? It's not going to work. It doesn't make any sense, right? So there's a whole bunch of things that will come into the smartness, right? Aware of who you are, aware who's around you, aware what the group is, what the setting is, right? What time of day it is, what's going on, you know, what else might be going on in the world. I don't want to be watching some stupid movie if something big has happened in the world, right? And I'm like deeply engrossed in this movie and something cataclysmic is going on in the world around me, right? Right now, you just be watching till the program ended. And then you might see something, right? So why doesn't it just switch automatically and tell me, you know, you're interested in, you know, the stock market, or you're interested in this, and here's something's happened, right? It should just know that. My TV today doesn't know all that, and it will get really smart. And it'll get smart fast. And you could be building that software, right? Siri, you've seen a little bit of this. If any of you have the iPhone, right? You can talk to it, it talks back, whatever. You know, again, very early, very poor in its implementation, but you know, just very empowering, and you know, you'll just get more and more refined, it'll get better and better, and you know, you'll just start to see kind of huge ways in which this will be leveraged, right? So, you know, the computer's everywhere. It's going to be completely ubiquitous. And you know, we don't know it, but you know, in schools in America now, they're putting cameras everywhere. There's cloud-based software that can analyze everything going on in a camera. In fact, there's one of the companies that we funded for the Citrix Accelerator is, you know, shopping malls. You know, they just want to know how many people entered the shopping mall, right? How many people stopped at this aisle? How many people picked up that shirt? You know, the supply chain guys want to know how many people liked that shirt. Did they all pick up a color and put it back on the shelf? Did that person then go pick up something else? You know, this is like clickstream data, right? For retail. It's like, I need to know. Somebody looked at that, they went and looked at that, they went and looked at that, and then they bought this, right? But you don't have that data today. But you will if you just watch all the video streams, and you're able to do it autonomically. It's almost like I clicked on that, and then I bought this, right? And you can do that at Amazon, but you can't do it in retail, right? So ubiquitous computer everywhere. It'll be in your home, it'll be in your car, it'll be in the office. You know, unfortunately, some of you may be concerned about privacy, but you know, you're not going to be able to protect that. And honestly, you're not, okay? And you know, as long as you're okay, you're not doing something nefarious, you're going to be okay. You know, it's like, but there will be, you know, what we want to avoid obviously is misuse of the data, right? And that's a huge problem, and society will have to deal with it. But the data is not going away. Just because, you know, the good people don't collect it, doesn't mean the bad people aren't collecting it, right? So, in fact, the good people better collect faster to overtake the bad out there, right? Otherwise, they'll be behind. If actually what will happen is a paradox will happen, which is there'll be all kinds of rules that say people can't collect data, and only the good people won't be able to collect it, right? And the governments will stop collecting it. And all the bad guys will be collecting data and leveraging it to great advantage, right? And so it's, you know, you see a little bit of that in the security and the cloud problem too, right? The HCI, we've talked about this a little bit, you know, the natural interface, very important. And finally, you know, you got gesture, you got voice, you know, you've seen the Connect kind of things, right? I've seen some awesome demos with Connect. I've seen kids playing on a surface like this, foosball, right? And it's actually like an LCD projecting down here and a Connect that's watching. And like 4 people can be running around playing football in this hall. And the ball's actually moving, right? Be kicking in and the ball will be kicking back there. It's just amazing. It's how it's happening all in real time, right? And it actually feels like you're playing football, right? And it's pretty amazing. And then you have all this autonomic stuff, right? You thought automation was for data centers, but it's going to become personal automation too. You're going to be buying scripts. Because of all this complexity, you're going to be overwhelmed. You're going to say, I've got too many things to do. I've got to get something where I've got to leverage somebody else's intelligent pattern, right? Somebody else has figured out how to do this well. So you're going to have all these scripts that you can download. It's more than apps. It's about orchestrating your apps, right? Orchestrating your life. It's like, every time I see this email, do this. Every time I do this, you know, book this conference room, right? Every time I get this kind of meeting, right? I don't want to do patterns, right? I don't want to have repeating patterns. I want you to intelligently infer from things I've done what I'd like to do in the future, and maybe prompt me for some things that, you know, you can infer. And all of this is, again, intelligence that's going to come off your devices and then go into the cloud and then go be able to replay it and be able to leverageable across, you know, your experiences, right? So it's essentially you have this context engine. And finally, what is the ultimate goal? It's the opportunity to delight the user. It's not to exploit the user, because users will consume more of something if they enjoy it. And that's been the experience of the iPad and the iPhone, right? Is people just cannot wait for the next version, regardless of how many they already have, right? They still buy the next one. it's just amazing, If the price were a little lower, I'm telling you, Android would have no market, right? But luckily Android's still there, right? Pushing hard because of the price differences. Mobile, we have a huge amount of fragmentation, and this represents an opportunity too. You've seen the fragmentation in the mobile space, right? And I don't even really, I put BlackBerry on the side there, I just put Android and Apple in the middle. Windows Phone is there on the side as well. They might disappear off these charts soon. Who knows, right? I don't know. Windows 8 is coming on, hopefully strong, but BlackBerry certainly is dropping off, right? I don't know how many people buy new BlackBerries, but it's not happening, in a big way. And then you have this whole, I've got my app store, the other person's got their app store, I've got my development environment, the other development environment, so there's a huge amount of opportunity here in terms of just, how do you unify all of this, how do you leverage this, right? And there are a lot of companies working in this space. And this is just one slide that I captured from a company that tracks these, and they have like 8 slides like this. So I just put up one as example of companies in the mobile space. So don't think you're the first one, okay? Anytime you're going to do something, please study everything out there. And by study, I mean you have to go through all these companies. These are just logos, right? There are lots of smart people already trying something out there. Very difficult if you start doing something, right? If you're in a big company or you're doing a startup or something, and you haven't seen somebody else who's already done everything, who's like 3 years ahead of you in that game, you're just wasting time because you thought you came up with the idea for the first time, right? I'm not trying to be discouraging. I'm just saying, there's so much information out there, and because of the cost of starting a company has become so small, there are so many companies of 3, 5, 10 people, right, out there, and you need to find them, and you need to figure out what they're doing, right, before you go do something yourself, okay? Very hard otherwise. So HTML5, this is another huge opportunity. HTML5 may be the one saving grace, right? Because you've got all these platforms. It's very rich. It can do kind of device level stuff in a very portable kind of encoding format, right? It's got all the stuff you need to kind of have essentially a full, rich experience, almost, but not quite there. It's still not there in performance, right? Because it's still kind of interpreted, it's still run inside the browser context, right? And so there's still some issues there, but it'll get better. I mean, when in the HTML rendering engines get into the chip and they go even faster, I think it might get there to the point where even the native OSs may not be able to keep up. Because there's going to be kind of system on the chips that will implement some parts of the HTML rendering, right? And then you'll start to see very blazing speeds and caching, and all of that will become very embedded in the systems, Lots of cross-platform tools. Again, another, when you see 10, 12, and I've only put the top 15 here, right? And you start to see all this, there's an opportunity there, which is where people are feeling pain. That's why entrepreneurs and teams are going out and trying to fix the pain, right? Again, is there a disruptive way this could be fixed? Is there something that we're not all thinking about? Is there something you all can bring in your experiences that is different than what all these tools are doing? Not many of them are very good. I've looked at PhoneGap, I've looked at Accenture, I've looked at Accelerator, Flex. They all have their limitations, right? So, this problem is not solved. Huge problem still to be solved. Video. I mentioned video to you earlier. So guess what? This is a company called Vidi. And they launched their product on March 31st. Guess how many users they had after literally, look at the number of weeks, 8 weeks. 30 million users plus. So nothing in human history, okay, not even Facebook, went from 0 to 30 million of anything in 8 weeks. In 8 weeks, okay? So this is the power, right, of kind of the new ecosystem out there, the ability to leverage these platforms. And these guys didn't spend any money on marketing, certainly. They're not spending big bucks trying to get people to come to their website. It's all viral stuff that is happening here, right? So huge opportunity. I mean, this could be a team that was based out of India. This company is worth billions now, right? Literally. And, so it's possible to do stuff like this. And it's possible to do it really fast. Guess what's happening with video? Cisco's numbers here. 2011 to 2015. Look at percentage of consumer traffic. Video represented 40% of consumer traffic. Guess where it's going? 90%. You might say, what does it mean? It's actually much more reflective of things going to HD first. So the number of pixels went up, right? And so just the bandwidth went up there. So that itself consumed everything. And the voracious nature, right, of video. People just are doing much more on video. And people are consuming it in their tablets for the first time now, right? They're consuming it on their smartphones as well. Again, huge opportunities there if you can find a way to optimize video delivery and find a way to do things like predictive. Again, if let's say you know this person is going to watch the show, and when they come home and sit down on the couch, they're going to pull up their tablet and watch the show, can you not pre-cache it at a time when it's faster, right? And maybe then, bandwidth needs will go down, right? If you can predict what's going to happen, right? Who's going to need what when, right? Just a simple example. I'm giving you very simple examples. Obviously, there's much deeper thought that has to go into a lot of this stuff, right? Experience matters. It matters tremendously. So here are the 4 devices we have, right? Approximately, this is a Google study that was taken a few months ago. How many minutes per interaction? Obviously, you spend the least amount of time on a smartphone, but you have the most number of interactions. Then when you get your tablet, you might spend a long time on a tablet because you're consuming, you're reading, right? And then, when you finally get to the laptop, it's some big project, right? You're actually going to do some real work, And TV, why is it 43 minutes? Because most shows are like 45 minutes or whatever, right? So you'll just sit down and you watch, and natural transaction is about 1 hour, right? Pretty much, you don't start watching something for 5 minutes and then get up and leave, right? That's not the way you consume TV. It's a different pattern, right? So who are the 4 screens here, and who's playing in this game? Check it out. It's the same people you'd expect. And the one wild card in my mind is Facebook. I know people are down on Facebook, their stock has dropped and all that, but they still have 1 billion people connected there, right? Even if half of those people are not active, even if, it's still a massive number of people who are connected, right? And it's a massive number of the younger people who are connected, who are now going to form going forward. They're just going to be born on Facebook, right? And it's like, the only reason they don't have everybody on the planet is because the older folks haven't figured it out. They just haven't got to Facebook yet, right? But all the younger folks are on Facebook. And they're going to be spending money. They're going to be making the decisions of the future, right? And so, Facebook is, in my mind, on the upswing here, right? And how long will it be before Facebook can resist throwing out the Facebook phone? And then is there something you can do in Facebook on their mobile, social, going back to the 3 silos that shown earlier, right? So there's these, I have these 2 patterns. I have 2 screens here where I have 2 patterns. So you have this whole multi-screening. This is a huge area of opportunity again, and this is a big area you need to think through. Your apps, if they don't do this well going forward, in 2014, I guarantee you, maybe not 2013, but in 2014, if you build an app that I can't seamlessly walk into my office and it then goes to my laptop, and then when I walk into home, it just seamlessly transitions to my smart TV, and then if I turn around and walk to my tablet, it seamlessly transitions to the tablet, right? I want the same experience everywhere. You're going to have to build apps that are like this. Building kind of monolith apps that are running in one place just won't work, which means you have to rethink the architecture, you have to rethink how you kind of build that app, how you structure it, how you build the topology of the app, right? So you see sequential use, which is I use something on the phone first, and then I do more on the tablet, right, or the laptop. You'll have simultaneous use, which is I do something on both together, right? You'll have complementary use too, and then you have multitasking. On the next slide, I have something that actually explains this better, which is coherence. So when you're thinking about building apps in the mobile space, right, think about these 6 things as you think forward. Coherence is about when I see the app on the smartphone, it should give me the right information. When I go to the tablet, it should give me more information, but I shouldn't lose anything. When I go to the desktop, it should give me more, even more, right? Very important. Synchronization, which is if I save something here and I then go to the tablet, it should be there. If I then go to my laptop, it should be there. Screen sharing, which is why can't I see my phone, my iPhone on my laptop when the phone rings? Why can't I hit the answer button there, right? Why do I have to go find the phone? Or where's the phone now, right? Let's go find the phone, right? It's like, why? Why can't I just answer right here, right? And why can't I just play? I mean, that's going to happen, right? It's definitely going to happen. Device shifting. I'm on the, I start something. Let's say I start a conference call on my laptop. I'm now going to go into the car. Why can't I just switch automatically to the Bluetooth headset in the car? Why can't it then just transition to my phone as I walk out of the room without losing that conference call? Why do I have to dial in again? Disconnect here, dial in there, then come to the office again, dial in again, right? It's the same call, right? Just keep going. Complementary. So here what you have is basically, I do something on one, and it adds value on the other, which is I can use my smartphone as maybe a remote control for my TV, right? So I can do something here that is controlling the other. The simultaneity is 3 of us can be acting together. It's like 3 iPhones are playing, and the fourth, the TV screen, is actually the game console that all of them are interacting on, right? Which is we're all simultaneously interacting with each other, and all the devices are acting instantly. Sometimes I've seen this app which makes the iPhone like a mouse pad for your screen. And it's just an app, right? And because now that you have Apple TV, you can connect it up, you can see your iPad on the screen, but I need a mouse. So you can just use that, right? And so there's a whole bunch of things like that that you're starting to see. These are the kind of 6 patterns out there that you need to think through for your app. If you're just building a plain old vanilla app, in 2014 it'll be dead, right? It needs to think about all these things, when you start to think mobile. So design and innovation matters, and that was part of that. So whenever I talk to groups, I say, okay, let's design something. You ask in an office environment, this is the top choice. Everybody wants to redesign the conference room, right? And that's great. Okay, this is a simple answer because you can say we can change the whiteboard, we can make it a digital whiteboard. Anything I put on the whiteboard can be transmitted to the other side. We can have cameras. You can automatically, like the tablet roving robot example I gave you, things like that come up, right? And that's great. But let's look at some examples outside of our industry, right? For examples of kind of things that are very disruptive. So 4 big companies, right? That, actually there's more than 4 here, there's like 7, but these are all companies that have done a brilliant job, right, of design. Outside of technology, I mean, Apple is here, but Apple's done a great job of industrial design, even more than even software design, right? I mean, the industrial design is just so alluring. You just go into their stores, their retail design is brilliant, right? So it just permeates everything they do. So let's take a look at one. So I have one example of disruptive design, and I've taken something that's clearly not technology. It's not software for sure, right? And actually it is a lot of technology and it is a lot of software, but I'll tell you about that later, right? So what is this? This is a Ferrari 458 Italia, It's one of the fastest cars in the world. It can go kind of 0 to 100 in 3.6 seconds. It seats 2 adults, but rarely does a second passenger ever sit in this car, It's mostly driven, it's a driver car, right? And it's just, it can go about 280 kilometers, miles